Welcome back to the Reptiles With Podcast. Listen, in an attempt to be a little bit mobile at these reptile shows, we're trying out some new equipment, and I actually just finished editing the podcast, and I'm not going to lie, the audio is a bit messed up. But it's important for us to release this because I think we spoke to some amazing people. There were some great interviews, and I still want this to go out. So we'll do better the next one, but let's get started. Welcome back to the Reptiles With Podcast. Today we're hanging out at the Orlando Repticon. I'm here with Eric.
Hello.
Listen, before we get started, this episode was brought to you by Repticon Reptile Shows, Premium Crickets, and Reptiles Express. Let's get started. Eric. So this is a face you've seen before many times now, but he's also a main character on the main side of the podcast. How are you feeling, Eric?
Strange.
Why strange?
Because I'm not used to it.
Okay.
I don't talk a whole lot in general. And usually, at least when I'm sitting there with you guys, I'm paying attention to my phone because I'm writing notes on the podcast and I'm paying attention to the audio.
Yeah.
So I sometimes have to tune out from the conversation. So then I just find it a little difficult sometimes to kind of ease my way back into it.
Yeah.
I'll get used to it. So I can see her tell me I'll get used to it. So
yeah. How do you
see.
feel like now, I guess now being in front of the camera though? Because I mean, you've been, for the people that don't know, and I know I've said it a bunch of times, but like you've been a main player throughout the whole podcast. You're just behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So, but how does it feel like being in front of the camera now?
Good. I'm there.
Yeah. So, for the people that are tuning in today, Eric works with some turtles. He's very passionate about turtles.
I like turtles.
He likes turtles. Eric works with, he's going into the carpet python realm.
Scary world.
Yes. I feel like I have, unfortunately...
I think we fed off of each other.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes I'm just like, hey, Eric, do this.
Yeah, but I did the same thing. That's the reason you have the brittles.
Oh, you know what? That is true.
I got you on that shit.
Yeah.
My bad.
You were able to help me get the right one.
Was I? I don't remember.
Yeah,
that was a whole like ballad.
Yeah.
Getting different snakes and stuff.
Well, I think they were the right snake to get. I mean, the
like the specific snakes, because you got the pair and then it ended up being both males and you went back and forth.
It was a long journey.
You went through 2 pairs, I think.
I did go through 2 pairs because then I had the female that was smaller, and then I waited for. And the next thing that we're doing is the diamond pythons.
Yeah.
I just got a pair of those. They haven't come in yet. They haven't shipped, but I did buy them.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I thought they were chilling in your
No. If they were chilling in my house, you would have seen them 100%.
I guess.
Yeah. I think that's another good animal to
I think it's great
to keep outdoors here. They can handle the whole thing.
I'm very excited for that because I didn't really look too much into diamonds, but after you got them, I'm like, let me see what's going on. They're cool as hell. Like they're temperate. They're a temperate species.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool.
Describe temperate.
Temperate. It's like it gets cold.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to call it like the Pacific Northwest, but like their range is very similar.
They are the Seattle of the carpet pythons.
Yeah. It's true. Like they like it cold. Well, I don't like it, but they live in the cold. I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
Especially with that specific part of the world. I think that it goes ignored. Because when you think of Australia, you're only thinking about the northern jungles and the desert. But down south, where Tasmania hits too, it's like a temperate like fjordland. It's cool. I think that area of the world is so cool. And I think I'm going off on a tangent now, but I think that's what Antarctica used to look like back before it
used to look like what?
Like that. That's what a lot of people think. That Antarctica used to look like Tasmania, New Zealand, and southern Australia. It's a very similar ecosystem in landscape.
The thing is, as far as I know, Antarctica is the place where all the governments go and do all their secret missions. That's what I understand about Antarctica. That's my conspiracy side.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was just their house. Go to one of the boys' houses.
Yeah, no. But yeah, dude, I'm excited to get into continue working with the diamonds. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you're doing with the carpets?
So
what you got two little projects that are pretty great.
I have one project that's already set. I just gotta wait a couple years. I have some gamma stuff.
Describe gamma.
So gamma is a 3-way
Whoa.
between you got gamma encompasses diamond, jungle, and then jaguar. So you have the diamond python, jungle carpet, which is the cross there, and then you mix that with jaguar, which is a morph. you create basically a very high yellow, high contrast animal. So I have a regular female jungle that I'm going to pair up with a gamma zebra. He's a very pretty little guy. He's a little asshole. Poops every time I have to touch him, but
Yeah.
I'm raising those two up to have some babies.
Hell
And,
yeah.
hopefully I get some cool stuff from them. But the main event, which is the part that's kind of killing me, I'm trying to produce snows, which is exanthic albino. So I have the female. She's an exanthic het albino.
Yep.
And I'm on the hunt for the inverse, a male albino het exanthic.
Yes.
And with the power of those two, I can create an
With
all-white
the power
snake.
vested in you.
Yes.
Invested in you.
Invested. My problem is that the male doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That animal doesn't exist yet. So.
Yeah.
and
Well,
it's-
I mean, this year's kind of the year to get it because
Yes.
by the time that you get the male, it matures, your female will be fully mature.
Yes. So,
So-
that's kind of where most of the effort is pulled to.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. I don't really want to produce very much of them because those are going to be expensive snakes.
Yeah.
I only plan with both the carpet projects. I only plan on putting them together once every 2 or 3 years. Because if they lay, they're probably going to give me anywhere from like 15 to 20 eggs.
Yeah.
And those animals are going to sit. That's not an animal that sells very frequently at all.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Well, I
really
implore
plan.
you at least every other year.
You think so?
Actually, you know what I would do? I would inverse the years. One year you produce the snows, the other year you produce the gammas. So every year you're
Okay.
producing, but you're going like this. You're cycling it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would recommend.
I've also toyed around with maternal incubation. I'd
Oh,
want to try that out, but I don't know how good of an idea that is.
I would say if you're gonna do that with the gamma project. Do not do that with the snows.
Okay.
You're gonna want to be a little bit more to the T with
I feel
the
like with the
snows. That's
gammas,
a
I
big-
had to kind of like play a guinea pig with them.
I just
little
wouldn't
bit.
want you to miss out on what you've invested
How so? What do you think will happen?
with the snows. If the incubation goes bad, the maternal,
I see, I
yeah,
see.
you might as well do it.
Yeah.
You know, the way that everybody does that. But listen, if anybody that's listening knows where he can find an albino, 100% het exantic carpet python, hit up Eric. Where can they find you?
Reptiverse on Instagram.
Hell yeah!
That's
All
pretty
right,
much it.
we're gonna rock and roll. We're gonna do the show.
Let's do it.
How you doing? I'm Miguel with Perfectly Engineered Reptiles here in Orlando, Florida.
Hanging out.
Yeah, I've been doing it for 4 years. Been in reptiles since 2000.
Okay, so the reason I wanted to talk to you is you said something to me yesterday, and it bothered me. Do you remember what it is that you said?
Yes.
Can you repeat it?
So he said, we got to get you on here. And I said, yeah, when I feel like I matter.
You matter, man. Why
I
you,
do.
Let's.
So-
I want to unpack that.
That was I'll say this, that's a philosophical statement. I know I matter.
Okay.
And that was more of a passive-aggressive jab at, there are people who have been in less time than me who have like Patreons, and they, not that they don't matter, but they really want to have a voice. And I think just like any trade or anything you do in your life, this requires time to be good
Okay.
at it.
I
And it was
understand.
just, look, I'm 4 years back into it, I'm new. I'm more learning than I don't want to be someone's mentor right now. I want to
Got
learn.
you.
I want to
Yeah.
sponge.
I feel that. Yeah. So I've been doing this just in general reptiles since 2015, and it sounds like a long time, but I
Yeah.
always feel like I'm similar, like a sponge. Like I just want to take in more information, especially when it comes into like the ball pythons and stuff like that. It's like I have a very good grasp on how I've been breeding them for so long now.
Yeah.
But also like I always feel like I'm maybe a couple steps behind, or like I'm like trying to figure out an angle of how I could be like, how can I be in, a little bit more in the picture. I made a comment to one of my close friends one time, is that I don't have like a lot of like close ball python friends, and I realized I was like, all of my friends are like outside of ball pythons. I'm like, I think I'm part of the community, and then I'm not, dude.
It's tough though.
Yeah.
Part of that comment too is I think social media has given people a platform to have a voice.
Okay.
And I think oftentimes, there's a saying in a debate, the right person doesn't always win. Sometimes it's the loudest.
Okay.
And in the old days, when I was doing this in 2000, there was a lot of misinformation, but you had to research it. And now you can get on YouTube, and maybe your ball python friends, there's a lot of non-facts going around disguised as facts. And
Okay.
a lot of people don't do the due diligence. So I think that's part of it is I hear stuff, but you always have to fact check. How real, how true.
Yeah.
And I think ball python, because financially it's the biggest.
Yeah.
It's not about how cool they are or anything like that. Just it generates more money than other reptiles.
Yeah.
It feeds the ego of people.
Okay.
And so sometimes truth isn't always their goal. And that was my comment was more, I don't want to have an opinion. I want to still learn. And, if somebody asks me a question, I'll give them but I want them to know it's an opinion. And I want them to do the work themselves.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's a very thought-provoking thing that you're saying there.
Yeah.
I also appreciate like the circle that you do have. I see, the couple times that I've seen you at the show now, the last year, you hang around with like Steve and stuff like that, and I like Steve a lot. Steve's
a good dude. He's probably my mentor for sure.
Yeah.
I have more than one, but he'd be the main one.
Yeah. And every time that I've spoken to Steve, even if I see him like talking to somebody and I'm just walking by his table, I'm like, I'm not gonna say hi to Steve right now. He's talking to somebody. He always stops me and says, hey man, what's up? Steve's a very nice guy.
What's weird is you always try to say surround yourself with people you want to be like.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever be a Steve. The reason I don't hang around with a lot of the biggest breed, and I'm not saying they're all like this, it's more my fear. I don't want to project it. But I like being around people who put the animals first.
Okay.
The reason I'm as big as I am is I held one ball python. I thought it was so cool, and it's turned into an obsession. But I never wanted them to be like a requirement financially, or I never wanted to be so big where it was a burden and I didn't enjoy it.
Got you.
And Steve was the first one that I met. Oh, I do this for a living. I don't have a job anymore. And he'll talk to you about snakes for 5 hours straight with a passion. When you watch like Steve Irwin, those guys, where you knew he loved the animals, I get that from Steve.
Got you.
It's infectious. I like being around those types. There's nothing wrong with earning money. What's wrong with? I'm not saying that. That's a part of it.
Yeah.
But if it's your first priority, I'm probably not going to be close with you.
Got you. That's
nothing wrong with it. I'm not knocking you. It's just I like animals first.
Hell yeah, man. Well, let's talk a little bit about your business. You got a lot of ball pythons. Is there anything else that you work with other than ball pythons?
Yeah, they're funding all my other projects.
Okay.
So I use them to get in. This year, the only other species I'll probably breed and put on the table is samboas.
Okay.
So I'm big into rough-scaled samboas. I also have file snakes.
Okay.
The Cape file snakes, not the forest file snakes.
Okay.
And then I have boas, mostly IMG, and then I like bloods. If I ever can find them, 20 years ago it was easier to find some of the stuff. But I never see rubber pythons. I'd love to get into rubber pythons. And then the other one that I'd like are Taiwanese beauties.
Okay.
They're awesome. I think they're cool. Yeah.
Cool beans. Now, with the ball pythons, is there a specific project that you're going in a direction with, or?
I fell in love with Axanthic. I thought the grayscale, the removing of the yellow pigmentation that Axanthics do, was awesome. So I've gone really heavy into the DG Axanthic. Basically everything, DG Axanthic, and then
it's like everything these days has to have desert ghost at least.
I do go heavy in it, but I also have some that are just Axanthic. I still like.
Yeah, I guess.
So I do Firefly, Axanthic, stuff like that. But my passion is the grayscale.
Gotcha. Okay.
The black and white.
What line of Axanthic?
So I work VPI, and so I'm of the mindset that there are a lot more line-bred traits in ball pythons than there are genes than we believe. Like, I suspect, it's just my opinion, I'm not stating this as a fact, but I have talked to Ben from RGI. I think asphalt and gravel are the same gene.
Okay.
It's just whoever got the line in Canada was a darker one, and they bred for that, so over time, you make.
Okay.
So same thing. I think, a lot of people say, oh, this is the best line. I will agree that like the Snake Keeper has a beautiful line because John Degg worked on it for 10 years.
Yeah.
And VPI didn't have that. It was propagated throughout. It's by far the most popular. But I have VPI, and I don't knock anyone for having any other line.
Cool. Well,
there's nothing better than the smell of coffee in the morning, okay? There's also nothing better than the smell of reptiles in the morning. Psych. Reptiles with coffee. That's the smell you want. The strongest coffee, all right? We have it for you. Head on over to the description or go to coldbloodedcaffeine.com and use the code ReptilesWith to get your Reptiles with coffee today. If you want to support us, head on over to modernreptileshop.com or in the description where you can find our merch. And the best part is that a percent of the proceeds from the merch gets donated to conservation. One more time, that's modernreptileshop.com or head on over to the description. My friend, Mr. Mad Ball Pythons. How are your ball pythons?
Cold.
Why are they cold? What do you mean?
Well, I went from ambient temperature to learning how to use
Heat?
heat.
Okay. So you just moved, pretty much you're saying you moved from Miami, so you're able to utilize the temperatures in Miami in your shed, which were ambient temperatures. A lot of people have bred ball pythons in ambient temperatures, especially down in South Florida, and it's worked out great. But now you're North Florida, you have to use heat. You have no choice, buddy.
Nope.
How's the season looking for you so far?
It's I'm gonna keep it simple this season again.
Okay.
This season I'm pretty much gonna focus on my entry project,
Okay.
or what we call entry something.
NG something, okay. So there are different levels to being a breeder, okay? We have the beginner breeders, which are usually like the really small hobbyists that they're just getting into it and stuff like that. I would say that there's like the middle ground people, which is kind of like where you and I are, where we've done it for a long time. We know the thing, but we're not really at the top as far as like the people producing the best stuff in the world. And then there are those people, okay? Those people at the top, they have a different, I would say a different market a little bit, but also a different audience and stuff like that. So maybe they're not as affected with the certain like prices and stuff like that and how things are moving as we are. So now me, as kind of like the middle ground, I am adjusting a lot this year. Okay? How are you adjusting your collection in today's market?
You know, for a few years, I just focused on my blackhead stuff, blackhead combos, blackhead this, blackhead that. And in reality, I tried to stay away from the recessive stuff.
Yep.
The market has kind of been geared to where I am forced to start introducing myself into the recessive and stuff like that. But I still don't want to do them.
Got you.
I have a few things lined up, obviously, just because over the couple of years I felt like if I've fallen a little bit behind, like it's from when we started doing this stuff, it was like a slow progression, and you could have been easily 1 season, 2 seasons behind and catch up real quick.
Yeah.
Now it's like, you take your sweet ass time and it's BAM!
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
It's like there's no way, and right now I'm in that area where it's like, there's no way I'm gonna catch up right now. So I'm just gonna take it back how I used to always do it, and then basically fill in those gaps that people are leaving behind.
When you say you're forced to work recessive,
Yes.
like how do you say that because like it's hard to move stuff, like it's hard to sell in today's market specifically because if you're not working with recessives to other people, to other breeders, other breeders you're saying want recessive stuff. They want it. So you have to almost put yourself into that position to be able to produce that, to be able to sell it. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
No, I still do very well with the Codom single genes, especially at Repticons and little shows. It's very easy to move your $100, $200 combo animals than it is to your $500, $600,000 animals.
Yeah.
However, I feel like if a lot of influencers, if you let's just call them influencers, to not mention anybody specific or whatever, it's in reality we're all doing it to where everything is being geared more to an investment versus a passion. So therefore, that's pretty much what's pushing me to start doing double recessive, triple recessive, triple recessive with 2 or 3 codoms.
Yeah.
That's everybody's gearing the market in that fashion.
Yeah. I think that ball pythons are moving, like, as far as like the progression, like it's moving fast, very fast, like you're saying. I think that there's still passion in the investment side. You know, I think that there's different avenues, you know, but I also feel very similarly where, and I know I've said it on and on this podcast, especially when I'm doing the reptile shows and I'm talking to ball python people, you know, this past year, that I am always like, I feel like first I was feeling like, oh, I'm playing catch up, and now I'm like, I gotta rework the whole thing, even though I thought I was reworking it last year, but now I'm just like, no, I was just still playing catch up, you know. So I'm in like a position now where I'm, you know, obviously a lot of people when markets drop, they kind of like freak out and they sell all their stuff. They want to they like kind of like get panicked and they're like, I gotta get rid of everything because I'm not gonna be able to sell anything. But I don't think that is the reality. But it is probably a good time to maybe move some of the things in your collection that don't make a lot of sense.
I think it's a very good. It's a good time to reset.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It's a good time to invest.
It's the best time to invest.
It's the best time to invest, and it's a good time to reset and basically restructure your collection.
Yeah, and I know we're talking a lot about ball pythons right now, but this goes with pretty much every reptile. I mean, if you're in a quote-unquote industry, like this is just like, you know, this year would be the year that you'd probably want to be buying stuff because prices are more than likely still going to be on the low side and things are going to be accessible for the most part. But reset, I like that word reset because it's not like you're getting out. It's more like if you don't have the capital to just go straight into investing into something else, this gives you an opportunity to look at what you have, see the cards that you're playing with, decide I need to pool these cards so that way I can generate capital to reinvest. It's just circulating that money, and you might be shooting yourself in the foot a little bit, selling some of your quote-unquote adults maybe that are producing some kind of something. But if that's going to help you set yourself up in the future, this might be the year to do that. Help the new breeder out, get them some decent adults, and then you are able to reinvest into the stuff that you really want to work with.
I mean, absolutely. You know, I've been very comfortable doing 40, 50, 60 clutches a year without even thinking about it, whereas 2022 and 2023, you know, and maybe now even 2024. Well, 2024, I'm just, my breeding is completely different. My 2024 season for me is going to be more geared towards my dinker projects, stuff that I really left on the back burner just because sales were pretty decent. You know, you could basically breed a pastel to a pastel and sell your super pastels without a problem.
Yeah.
Things have slowed down a bit.
Bro, you can't even sell bananas right now. Bananas are crazy.
Dude, I sell bananas all the time, dude.
But I have issues. Bananas are bananas. Yeah. It's bananas. Bananas. Like Gwen Stefani says.
Just like that 6 gene banana that I got there, dude. That shit is fucking insane, dude. But I just can't drop the price because that's one of those things where it's like, you know what, if I don't get what I'm asking for, I'm just going to keep it. Like, fuck that.
You have a banana pie proven breeder female up there. I was like, dude, what are you doing, man?
Yeah. It's just a banana pie, man.
Just. One of the first quote-unquote investment animals I bought was a banana pied on an auction, and that was the first time that I spent $1,000 on a snake, and it took forever for him to breed for me, and by the time that I sold him as an adult, he was a couple $100. It was crazy.
My first clutch was a normal to a pastel banana. We got 11 bananas and 2 normals out of that clutch.
Damn. And
that's when I was with Jonathan Foltz at Breeder Circle.
And how much did those bananas sell for?
Dude, I traded them for normal adult females.
That's crazy.
I got like 2 or 3 normal adults for every banana I traded out.
That's crazy. And then you just did it again the next year.
And then I just did it again. And then again. And then I'm constantly recycling my collection, dude. Constantly. There was even a time where I had to start all over from scratch I'm even thinking of considering starting from scratch again, just because it gives me a better perspective and an understanding of. I got too comfortable where I don't even look at the market anymore. And now that I've been looking, I'm like, I have all these animals right now. It's not where I want to be.
Understood.
So it's like you start collecting because of the market, and it's like, so right now I'm at, I went from 147 adult females. I'm probably like at 70 right now. I think I want to go down to like 30 or 40 and just start from scratch and educate people and teach people, that it's possible. You could go down that much and still have a badass season. And go from there, start raising more females, or make things that you want to do and just raise them. Go find that one male or that one female that you just want to plug into your collection in the future. And I don't know, man. The market is all right. It's just not the best right now to be bringing in 70 clutches and then feed them for God knows how long.
And you've been doing this a long time. This isn't the first time that you see something like this happen in the market.
Oh no, man.
So
it's the first time that I see that with so many outlets, it's still very hard to move product to a point where not even wholesalers are interested in your product. That's when you know it's pretty rough. But because of Morph Market and because of all the other social media platforms that has like eased out a little bit, there's a lot more reach. So you're definitely reaching a bigger audience. And moving some stuff.
You got a lot of stuff on your table, but I want to talk more about the wet specimens.
Okay.
You're keeping them in alcohol or formaldehyde? Like what's the
They're
thing
in 70% isopropyl alcohol.
Okay, sweet.
But they're fixed inside with formaldehyde.
Gotcha.
And they're injected like throughout their body.
Okay.
So they're injected in the cloaca, in the mouth,
Sweet.
Any open areas, and then
just to
up
fill them
the
up.
like body cavity, like knowing where the anatomy is, like the stomach and stuff. You want to get that part.
Is that super difficult? Like if someone just wanted to get into it and start doing that?
I don't think it's necessarily hard to do. It's more hard to find the stuff.
Okay.
Because like you're looking at getting like all those like ball pythons and boas and the skinks and stuff. It's finding the people who have that stuff to give it to you. And then knowing how to work with the chemicals safely, which is just kind of like PPE.
Exactly.
We learned that over the panorama. We're very familiar.
It's like, all right, guys, you have to cover your faces
Gloves,
now.
hats,
Don't breathe this.
Yes, wear glasses, Don't touch it, don't lick it. Don't drink the water.
Dang it, I really wanted to do that.
Don't drink the water.
It looks so yummy,
clear.
it's like, it's so refreshing.
Yes.
So, if you don't mind saying, like, where are you getting the specimens? So usually donations, are you buying them?
So I actually will kind of go around at like the shows like this and walk around to other vendors and just be like, hey, do you have anything dead in your freezer that you are just sitting on that you would like to get rid of? I personally don't pay for them. I will trade for them. So I'll trade other animals. I'll trade, like, if somebody wants me to preserve something for them, I'm more than happy to do that also. But I usually just get them like as a donation. When you think like if you're a large scale breeder, like 10%, you can expect a 10% loss every year.
Right.
And 10% if you have 100 animals isn't a lot, but 10% if you have 1,000 animals.
And usually like stillborns, old breeders, stuff happens.
And you start to look at that, and then you have a lot of this stuff. You have to catch it really fast because it can't be decayed. But if you catch it fast, it's great.
Do you do like personal for people? Like if they wanted their own pet doing it?
I'll do like wet specimens as commission. I don't personally do taxidermy right now. I'll mummify. There's a lot of ways you can preserve the reptiles though. Some people like to freeze dry them.
I found
but that thing is expensive.
I found a dead corn snake once that was just like it had to be heat exhaustion because interesting story. It was stuck in like a chain link fence, obviously not like the actual cans because they can easily fit through there, but like the tubes. He found a hole and it was in there.
Why is he going in there?
On the way out, I guess he just overheated and he died. And I found him like that, and I eventually wormed him out of the hole. I'm like, he's fully intact. The ants haven't even gotten to him. So like, I've had him in my freezer for a little bit. I wanted to do like with dermestid beetles, kind of get them to eat it away, get just the skeleton around. But I think it's like, it also fits in like the macabre
feel of reptiles.
Yeah.
People are usually weird. You got bugs on the table too
Yeah.
with inverts. So it's like, it's another like, hey, people are weird. They like the taxidermy stuff.
Yeah. It's not for everybody, but you know, nothing is.
Yeah.
Nothing
And
is.
especially if it's like a pet that you really loved, you really cared about, and you just want to keep them around a little bit longer.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, and even if it was something was just like a failure to thrive, I mean, a lot of us that are breeding these animals like this, we love these animals.
Yeah.
So it's just like a nice way to like remember them.
Yeah, exactly.
And let them go live on their lives elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we love
exactly.
that, you know.
Speaking of inverts, you've got a lot of tarantulas and stuff. Are you breeding those yourself? You've got breeders, or?
I breed some of them myself.
Okay.
I mostly will buy like egg sacs. That's my favorite thing to do.
Gotcha.
So I like to buy an egg sac where they're still like just coming out of it, where they're
Right.
like little beans.
Yeah.
And then cup them myself and do that.
Sweet.
Because that's fun.
No, yeah.
I like to watch them go through like the weird yellow stage to like,
Yeah.
wow, you're a whole ass bug.
Yeah, do you like open them up and let them like come out and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, and I'll kind of like watch it. I have a couple friends that are better at it than me.
Okay.
So I'm like, how should I do this?
Gotcha.
Please guide me.
Yeah,
on
no,
this
especially when
journey.
you got like 80 to 100 spiderlings. Do you separate them all? You just kind of like.
The scariest one was I bought an HMAC egg
Yeah,
sac.
jeez.
And there was 100 of them in there.
Oh my God.
And I
A hellscape.
was like, I was like, this is
Yeah, this is it.
This is it. I'm like, I need to do this at my peak performance
Yeah,
level. Like,
yeah.
I need to be on it.
Yep.
And it took hours.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah.
not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, and you separate them all. You don't let them like kind of eat each other up.
I just separate them all, just because if they're failure to thrive, you'll see it right away.
Yeah. Okay.
It's easier that way. I mean, it's not all of them are going to make it, but a lot of them will.
Gotcha.
Because it's all artificial.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like when I heard about P. metallica, that how sometimes they can reproduce parthenogenically.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like you've got your P. metallica, and then egg sac. You don't see the egg sac because she's like in her web, she's hiding it.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, you've got like 40, 50 P. metallicas in the enclosure. I'm like, oh my God, no.
Get that paintbrush out. Get to
Yeah,
work.
literally a
Get to
nightmare.
work.
A
Get
nightmare.
scooping.
And it's not like scorpions either. Scorpions are easy because then you just use the UV light.
Are they
after
easy?
a first shed? You're
Are
like, all
they
right, look for
easy?
them.
I don't know
think
if
so.
I'd call them easy.
But definitely more
not.
than scorpions or than spiders. I think spiders are a lot
The
more.
scariest is the centipedes.
Yeah.
I got a gravid.
We can plan a little bit for centipedes.
I got a gravid Vietnamese.
Jeez. I love the process though. We had
I didn't love the
flagtail
process.
centipedes. I've seen flagtail centipedes and they'll like do the little burrows and they'll like curl up with the eggs and then they'll hatch and turn into like the little tiny. It's like it's so cool.
They're so cute when they're little.
But then
They'll still get you though.
Yeah.
They will still get you and it will still hurt.
Yeah. You ever been bit?
Yeah. So I got by some baby of the Vietnamese.
Ugh.
The worst thing I got by was Arizona bark scorpions.
Yeah. Oh.
And that one, I was like, do I go to the hospital?
Yep.
It was burning.
Because it's lingering. It lingers. It lasts a couple hours.
I couldn't feel my hand all the way for a month.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Don't drink and do your stuff.
That's
like
literally insane. I've had
don't have that glass of wine while you're doing them.
No.
Bad things are gonna happen.
Worst sting was probably just like an Aiken forest. So it was literally nothing.
But those can still be really like.
I didn't have any like symptoms or anything. It was just initial pain for like maybe 30 minutes. I was like, okay, we're done. We're good.
We're done. We're done with this.
Yeah. But anything else, geez, the Arizona barks are real bad. That's crazy.
And I didn't realize how bad they were.
Yeah.
But they were bad.
Yeah.
That was not a good one.
I saw, Tarantula Richard.
Yeah.
Tarantula Collective. He recently got something like there's a video of him getting stung and he was like, oh, and I'm like, oh, yep.
No, I was crying on the floor in the reptile room.
Yep. Oh, jeez.
But I picked it because it got out, and I picked it up with my hands. Why did I do that?
Too comfortable.
I was just too bold.
We're like, I got this.
No, he was not gonna have that.
Yeah, that's nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
I like the mosh posh you got going on.
Yeah,
It's
I
nice.
like all my stuff.
Yeah. We'll call it then.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, man.